What happened when you found out your daughter was dating a criminal? I always thought I'd recognize a dangerous person when I saw one, until my daughter brought Rick home. My daughter Ellie came home last month with this dude who had face full of scars and gang symbols on his knuckles. The whole dinner was awkward as hell. I tried to break the tension and said, "So Rick, what do you do for work?" He barely glanced up and muttered, "Whatever I have to." I kind of laughed and joked, "That sounds like something out of a gangster movie." His jaw tightened and he shot me this look, sharp and cold, and went back to poking at his food. Every time Ellie touched his arm, he'd flinch away, and I could see him gripping something metal under the table. That dinner left me on edge, and I felt something was off. I tried to brush it off as me being overprotective, but that night I barely slept. Then one night I woke up at 2 a.m. and saw Rick just standing in our front yard, staring straight up at our bedroom window, not moving, not saying a word, just locked in place with his hands in his pockets, eyes fixed on our house. That image stuck with me for days. I told my wife we needed to change the locks immediately. I set up security cameras and caught him testing our door handles and looking through windows like he was planning a break-in. When I asked him about it the next morning, he just shrugged and said he had trouble sleeping. But his eyes never left mine, and something about his stare made my skin crawl. I started sleeping with a baseball bat and moved our bedroom to the basement because I genuinely thought this psycho was going to get rid of us in our sleep. The whole neighborhood was freaking out too. Mrs. Henderson found her cat's collar nailed to her fence with some threatening message. The Martinez family's dog went missing, and they found his bloody collar buried in their garden. My neighbor Johnson called me all panicked because he caught Rick going through his toolbox in the middle of the night. But here's where it gets really messed up. I'm cleaning out our attic and I find this duffel bag hidden behind some boxes. Inside there's zip ties, duct tape, a hunting knife, and what looked like chloroform or something, like a literal serial killer kit. I show Ellie and she starts bawling her eyes out. "Please don't tell anyone about this, Dad," she begged. "Rick has been through enough already." I started watching Rick even closer after that. He would disappear for hours at a time and come back with dirt under his fingernails and scratches on his arms. I caught him burning something in our backyard fire pit one night, but when I went to check the next morning, there was nothing but ash. Then this 8-year-old girl, Sarah Chen, goes missing from the playground down the street. The whole town is out searching, and guess who the cops find lurking around the scene at midnight holding the kid's backpack? They tackle Rick to the ground while he's screaming, "You're making a huge mistake," but they find the missing girl's hair tie in his pocket and her blood on his jacket. I testified at his bail hearing and told the judge I'd seen suspicious behavior and found disturbing items in my home. I was convinced we had caught a child killer. 3 days later, the whole thing falls apart. They find Sarah safe at her biological dad's place 2 states away. Turns out it was just a custody thing gone wrong. The blood on Rick's jacket was his own because he had cut himself fixing the kid's bike the week before. And get this, that kill kit I found in our attic was planted there by Ellie's psycho ex-boyfriend who had been stalking our family for months trying to frame Rick. Rick had actually been trying to protect all the neighborhood kids from the real predator, while everyone thought he was the monster. He'd been patrolling the neighborhood at night looking out for danger. The dirt under his nails was from burying dead animals he found so the kids wouldn't see them. The stuff he was burning was threatening notes from Ellie's ex. When they released Rick from jail, I was waiting for him outside. I looked him in the eye and said, "I owe you the biggest apology of my life. I judged you based on your appearance and almost destroyed an innocent man." Rick just nodded and said, "I know how I look. I understand why you were scared, but I was just trying to keep everyone safe." I invited him back to our house for dinner, and this time when my wife offered to cook, he actually accepted. We sat around our kitchen table, and I watched him help Ellie with her homework and joke around with my wife. The metal thing I thought was a knife turned out to be a pocket tool he used to fix kids' bikes around the neighborhood. "I'm sorry I made your life hell," I told him, "and I'm sorry I testified against you. You were protecting your family," he said. "I can't blame you for that."